What is digital business? It is one of the most frequently asked questions on the internet. Now, digitization means transforming any business into a digital business using digital technologies. But nowadays, what is really happening is in today's fast paced business environment, companies are increasingly turning to DBM to optimize their operations and boost their return on investment. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Analytics Insight podcast, where we talk about the ever evolving tech space. And I'm your host, Priya Dialani. Now, what exactly is DBM? And I think that's one of the most common acronyms that probably one must have heard in today's business world. And when we're talking about DBM, today we are going to talk and engage in a conversation with Mr. Ganesh Mohan, Head Global Operations and Platforms at Altimetrik, to help us more understand about what exactly is DBM and why organizations should be leveraging this new concept in altogether to increase their business efficiency. Hi Ganesh, how are you doing?
Hey Priya, I'm very good. Good morning, how are you?
Good morning. I'm doing good too. Thank you so much for your time and effort to be on this podcast today. It's a pleasure to have you with us. I mentioned about DBM. So I would, before we dive deeper into those core aspects and where you help us understand its true meaning and its benefits, I would definitely would want to first know more about Altimetrics. So if you could help us understand more about the organization, its specialization, any particular solution the company caters into.
Sure, Priya. So Altimetrik, we were founded as a platform IT services, product IT services company in the year 2012. And we have been existing since then. We primarily focus on building a lot of platforms and product solutions for our customers, completely on the digital business space. We do a lot of digital engineering work. As we said, we focus on the next gen technologies when it comes to very technology spaces of choices like platform modernization, data assimilation, building a lot of data analytics platform on the cloud for our customers. Trying to bring in the flavor of the latest DevSecOps practices into this whole pipeline, and we completely do this all on top of an agile methodology where we start from any versions of agile all the way up to the the scaled agile framework 5.0. So we put together, we call ourselves as a digital business company where we completely work on product and platform engineering solutions for our customers.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Ganesh. Seems a very interesting agenda today because we already have heard about digital transformation, but what exactly digital business driven a company like Altimetrics can do would be very interesting to know more about it in detail. But now, since we have discussed about the company, we would also like to know more about yourself. I think you are a distinguished senior leader, a technologist, even an entrepreneur, having around 2 years of experience, and you have left an incredible mark on some renowned organization like PayPal, CSS Corp. So, if you could tell us more about yourself, your journey till date, and probably what led you towards, your interest with Altimetrics.
Yeah, that was 2.5 decades. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, great.
Yeah, so I this is my 6th year in Altimetrik. I joined this company in 2019. Prior to that, I've been with multiple different companies at different roles. In Altimetrik, currently I play the role of a global head and I take care of operations, platforms, IT, and infra cloud at Altimetrik. And what do I do as a part of my role is I try to bring a lot of things that we preach and sell for our customers to life in terms of digital business. Right? What do we do? So as you know, any enterprise hops on to multiple enterprise tools to basically run their company in terms of how people, in terms of business engineering practices, in terms of finance, in terms of operations. And most of the time, when you get to your customers, they kind of throw these similar problems to you, right? The problems, if you try to kind of abstract that, what do you actually try and understand is, hey, you know what? I don't have a single source of truth today. I have 5 systems that I need to refer to. If I need to take a key decision, I actually need to have like 10 or 15 people on a call. And to get the time of all these 15 people for an hour, it's the biggest challenge. Some companies say that for them to even close their books by end of a month or end of a quarter, it takes more than a month to do. So a lot of such challenges are there in all companies. So does Altimetrik. It used to be two years before, and when we embarked upon this platform called DEX, it's called Digital Employee Engagement Platform in Altimetrik, where we started off trying to understand a problem that did not exist today, Priya. If I can say, like if I tell get up, dress up, show up, people who were in the pre-COVID era, they understand this phrase that you need to get up, dress up, show up to be successful, to be happening, to keep things moving. But post-COVID and to all these Gen Zs, if you tell them get up, dress up, show up, that doesn't ring a bell for them, because they don't need to get up, dress up, show up to do anything in life today. Everything is available to them on the hands of their mobile phone, and we call these people as digital natives. Right? They haven't been in a world without something digital being around them. So these are called digital natives. So if digital natives are going to be 80% or 75 to 80% of workforce for any company going forward in fast forward in 2030, 2035, and 2040 times, what kind of engagement would these people expect from these companies, right? In terms of how do they get hired, how are they kept engaged, how are they upskilled, how are they cross-skilled, how do they have access to everything that is happening in the company, and how do they start thinking a company as a career destination rather than a job destination where they get their paycheck from. So this was the Uber problem statement, Priya, that we started solving, and that is how we ended up in the role that I am today, building this text platform, where we have completely automated all the backend systems. We have made all the systems talk to each other, and we have created a single source of truth. And what I used to say, which you take like hours together with 10-15 people, just takes few seconds with 2 or 3 people in calls to happen. And at the end of the day, we also transformed a lot of things in this company with respective to AI, Gen AI, ML. We do practice a lot of these things, Priya. I think I want to stop here to understand if you have any more questions to probe further, because I can keep going on and on this.
Right, definitely. I completely understand. But yes, I agree with you that digital natives are something that's definitely going to form more of like a foundation for a lot of companies. And I think not for a lot of, but for across every industry or organizations would be having that as a competitive edge for their business processes and delivery as well. Now, we initially discussed about DBM. So I think DBM for my listeners who don't understand, it's more like digital business management. So it's more about integrating technology, processes, and even data to manage like a whole company's digital assets and strategies as well. So it's about leveraging those digital tools and platforms effectively in order to create like a more streamlined workforce or more enhanced customer experiences, which eventually helps in driving business outcomes. But this is just something that I could understand by looking up some information online. We would want to know from you that if you could tell us more about this digital business management and how it can help organizations increase their ROI.
So DBM stands for Digital Business Methodology. So what is digital business methodology? You actually put the business first. So this is a completely a different thought process or a different paradigm to what we used to call as digital transformation, where we actually used to put technology first. At least 5 years before or 7 years before, a lot of companies embarked upon this journey called digital transformation journey, where they said that what, we need to kind of move on to platforms which are called truly digital. And what does the word digital mean here, right? Digital is more of a overused or overridden word, but in pure sense, what they really wanted at that point in time was to move on to a technology stack that helped them scale. As we all know, I'm not going to say anything new, but a lot of people already said it, is like in 99, 97 times, if you actually have to get a cell phone, you actually need to wait for a week, where the whole things gets processed, it gets uploaded to the tower, then from that to the satellite, and multiple things happening. But today, you get pre-activated SIM, and you just get a SIM and you put it on your phone, and then you instantly are able to talk to somebody. And similarly, everything has become digital, as we all know. You can order food online, you can make payments, you can receive payments, you can learn, you can do online classes, you can shop, you can pretty much do anything that you want online, which means that the customer base has started increasing. 20 years before, when we want to build systems, first question people will ask is how many people are going to use it, and then people architect solutions around that. But now, if suppose somebody has to build a platform, if the question comes how many people are going to use it, the answer is actually millions and millions of people, right? They talk about 5 million, 10 million, and so on and so forth. They talk about multiple regions. Earlier it used to not. So there is a scalability need that came into picture existence, and that is when all of them said, hey, I want to do a digital transformation where I wanted to move from a system that is built only to serve a particular region, a particular set of users, to a different technology stack or to a platform where it can seamlessly scale. So tomorrow I'm just using it across 5 continents, 5 countries, I'm sorry, and then I just want to add a 6th country to it. I just don't need to worry about a big expense or a big time at all. I can just add a 6th country to that. So things like that. And from then to now, what is digital business means? It is about putting business first. When it comes to technology transformation, Priya, what happens is you completely think about the entire technology stack and you want to replace the entire technology stack, and then you start a big project that the technology transformation projects don't actually are not done in 3 months or 6 months time frame. They take years together to do the whole thing, and that's a big exercise. A lot of cost is involved, a lot of effort is involved. But at that particular time, if you see, the business has to suffer, because if business had a big acceleration roadmap, the technology team comes and tells them that, hey, can you slow down a bit, because we cannot push so much capabilities or so much features into the platform because we are completely transforming it. So just wait for the North Star to come, and then we'll completely build everything for you on that. So it's like something will come and solve all your problems, and then people have to wait for years together to do that. But with digital business, we put business first, where we try to deliver a business outcome in 3 months to 6 months time frame. So it's more like business focused, the end customer focused. So that is digital business. And when you think about digital business now, you'll have to come out of the whole thought process. So that's where the methodology comes in, right? Where in the past we used to talk about, hey, how many modules this platform has got. It's got a user module, it's got a customer module, it's got an admin module, and things like that. And then people go and say, okay, I'll change this module, I'll then go and touch this module, I'll go and touch the third module. But here we completely change the whole thought process, and the whole methodology says that, hey, you'll have to start thinking from scenarios. And so who are the actors in those scenarios first? Say, if you want me to take an example, Priya, that the scenario of getting somebody hired, right? So the first scenario is you want somebody to apply for a job opportunity against your company. So that's a scenario. So who are the actors in this? First, list down all the actors in that. Then list down who are the key stakeholders in this, right from the candidate to the actual department who is having the job opportunity, to the hiring manager and things like that. And then once you identified and you've defined the scenario at a higher level, break that down into user events. What are the user events that are going to happen to make the scenario complete, right? First, you have to post a job with all the details. Then you want a candidate to come and look at the job, then apply for the job, then go through the evaluation process, and then get selected. At a high level, I'm just telling you. Then every user event can actually be broken down into workflow steps. So what is the workflow? First of all, to put a job, who owns that workflow? So put a job, the department head owns. So what has to be done? So first you have to make sure that the content is created with all the parameters and metrics and roles and responsibilities, key skill sets needed that are there to create a job description and put it on the web page of careers of their particular company for others to do. And at the same time, we'll have to start investing on SEM, SEO, and LinkedIn kind of platforms for these jobs to apply. So on and so forth like this, right? So the whole thing trickle down from scenarios to user events to workflow steps and identifying the owner for each and every step. And then you further trickle down to say that what is going to be the single source of truth for this? How is the user interaction going to happen on this platform? And how can today an AI or Gen AI or ML come and help to kind of make this particular user event or this particular workflow step completely automated or more productive? and that's how the whole thing goes, Priya. I'll take a quick pause here. I don't know if I've been able to be clear. If you have any points or if you have any areas where you want me to double click, I can do that for you.
Great. Yeah. I mean, I think your explanation was pretty comprehensive and it really helped us understand about the digital business methodology and why it is important that, organizations should really keep their business first and how digital businesses can definitely help them enhance their overall outcomes. But, since you gave certain examples, I would also want to understand that if you can share some real world case studies or scenario where Altimetrics has eventually helped improve a client's business. So if you can help us with that or some success metrics which our listeners can benefit from.
Yeah, we have um, done it for a bunch of our customers. I'll pick up one case study. So this was for one of a leading bank that we did, and the case study was very simple. Like with this advent of a lot of things happening online, the need was basically to see if you can create virtual cards online on demand both. You have understood, you have come across this concept called virtual cards, right, Priya? There is a physical credit card, but then you
Yes.
can multiple
Yeah,
virtual
yeah, yeah.
cards on top of your physical card.
Yes, right.
Correct. So the business scenario was that when businesses want to actually for a particular online purchase, from a security standpoint, they did not want to share their physical card credentials. So they wanted to kind of create a virtual card on the fly and then use that 16-digit credit card number, CVV, and other details and make the payment so that the vendor never gets to know the actual physical card details so that they are covered, right? It was more. So this is how today bigger companies, payment companies like PayPal or Stripe, Braintree and all used to work, where they create tokens, right? And even what UPA does today. So this was basically based on the tokenization system, and this was actually the business problem, right? So businesses said that to the leading bank that, hey, you know what, I am your corporate customer, your customer with respect to your corporate department. You have given me a credit card to go ahead and do my corporate shopping, but how do I make sure that my credentials are not shared with what is happening today in the world with respect to a lot of these fraudulent activities happening, and these critical information being hacked or being shared uh, outside the to the common people. So this was the problem statement, and then we kind of jumped into this. And this was a business problem statement, right? So if I went and said that, hey, you know what, this is the big transformation exercise and I'll deliver it to you by end of the second year on 24th month, and eventually I take it to deliver 30 months, you're going to say, I don't want this, Ganesh, please, thank you. Right. So what we said is, you know what, we'll do a quick work for you. We'll try to deliver this for you in a 6 months time frame, and then we'll kind of go ahead and do this. So, and we did deliver that first cut to them for the first customer integration in 6 months time frame. So we went, obviously we followed the agile methodology. We followed the safe methodology where we created this as an agile release train. We brought in multiple stakeholders for initial set of meetings, right from the business team who is actually in front of these customers who are talking, who understand the real situation or the real scenario. We brought their product engineering team, we brought their tech team, we brought their IT infra team, we brought their the release management team, and we just put all of them together in the room, and then we defined what is that we can actually launch in 6 months time frame, knowing all the constraints that we have. As you know, in a bank, getting something released new in 6 months is not an easy thing, because they have a lot of checks and balances, and a lot of compliance requirements is there, and that itself will take an easy 2 months. So if you have to deliver something in 4 months, what can we do? That was a question. And then people started whiteboarding a lot of things, and finally we kind of said that, okay, out of these things, let's pick up these 4 or 5 items, and this is what we're going to deliver. Hey business, are you okay? So business was okay. They said fine. Then we started embarked upon the journey, and then we brought in a lot of other people, right? Like, you know what, the moment I say credit card, you can understand, we'll have to talk to Visa, we'll have to talk to Master, we'll have to get them on board, because they only normally generate the token for you. In certain cases, the credit card number is generated by the bank, but in certain cases, the 16-digit number for you actually comes from your gateway. with your network, which is Visa or Master. And we have to talk to them, we have to get them on board, and we'll have to work with them for generating this initial 16-digit token. So the moment, and we have to create the user interface for our customer, because there is a separate system that is there. We worked with that in customer. So finally, it all came to life when the customer, then they actually want to make a payment. They just open up the console of the bank. They just say, generate a card for this amount. So they exactly say the amount for which they want the card. So that amount gets generated. They immediately get the credentials. They put it on their online purchase store, and then they make the payment, and payment is gone. So this is a real world thing, Priya, that we did, where we followed agile. We followed a methodology called domain driven design, which has been existing for a couple of decades. We put the entire thing as a platform modernization effort, but we did not do a whole digital transformation. We picked up only the pieces that needs to work together, and we had to put all of this on the cloud, because, as you know, scaling was a very very important thing, and multiple regions people will use it from. And then this had to be very very secure, because it was all bank and secure platforms. So the best DevSecOps practices were implemented in this particular thing. And then we delivered this first outcome for one customer of the bank, and we went live. And then this is then history.
Great. I think that was pretty impressive, Ganesh, and really thank you for sharing such a impactful real-world example for our listeners to understand and help us analyze the power probably the Altimetrics platform offers to its customers. So I think that's pretty impressive. The next thing that I really want to touch upon is the elephant in the room. I think it's everybody would know that I'm going to talk about generative AI. So I think it's more about everybody's talking about generative AI, its role as an industry disruptor. And of course, it is one of the most exciting developments in artificial intelligence today, and it has a potential to transform industries by automating creative tasks and generating content and even designing products for that matter. So I want to understand what are your views on generative AI and how, or in any way, if you're leveraging generative AI at Altimetrics and improving business excellence.
What can I say? I actually started loving generative AI. We have been using that for more than a year now in Altimetric. Priya, it's wonderful. So I've been introduced to this AML for quite some time now. Even during my past uh, previous company, I've used that to a greater extent. But Gen AI really has transformed. And where does it actually help us is, I'll take few examples. In all the companies, if you see, Priya, today the biggest challenge internally that we have, when one is, we have a big struggle writing the right job description, because in Altimetric, as you know, I'm sure you would have read it in the news that we are trying to triple our headcount by the next 3 to 4 years. So currently we are at 6,000 plus people. We just want to be 18,000 employees, which means we need to be hiring at least 200, 300 people. We'll have to be onboarding every month. And then that's a big effort for a company. And if you have to be hiring 200, 300 people every month, you should always be having 400 to 500 demand in your company every month on month, which means that there has to be 400, 500 job descriptions that the company has to generate on an ongoing basis, month on month. That's so much of content, if you can just imagine that, right? So much of content. And every content has to be 60% is same, but 40% is different. But that 40% is what really makes you to identify the right candidate, because you hire against a demand for solving a business problem for your customer. And so there are very specific skills, and there are very specific capabilities that we want the individual to bring in to the table when we actually want them. And then we have hiring process. So the first thing in Altimetric that we solve using GenAI is to come up with a standardized template for writing the proper right job description to put it out on the web. So that's the first thing that we do. The next thing that we do is, when somebody tries to apply, we leverage generative AI to basically give us the key pointers that we want to actually match against a job description and a resume, and then we do the matching. So we use GenAI to pick up, parse the JD, parse the resume, and come up with a JSON structure with key pointers. And then we use a machine learning algorithm logic to do a vector-based mapping of the skills and try to identify how much will this candidate be viable to go through the evaluation and get successful in the process. Because a lot of people might have have written certain things as a part of their skill set, but what we want might actually be there in their project description area. Certain people would have actually written their project description very elaborative, but skill set they would have written very less. So you need to kind of do a mix and match. I'm getting to these level of details because this is a problem that a lot of people are trying to solve, are thinking to solve, but we have been already solving this for a year now. So we've just gone past 2 or 3 levels into this. So we do that. So we do no more just only a plain vanilla comparison to say, hey, does this JD match against his resume and let us evaluate? No, we don't do that. We even go to the next end to identify and understand, hey, will this person clear our evaluation round? Does this person have all the skills and capabilities that we are looking for? So that's one thing that we do. And the third thing, Priya, is that in our company today, not in our company, in any company, there is a phase that everyone says is where people move from one project to another project, right? That happens in any company. Where if you're an employee, you ought to move from one engagement to another engagement. So when you normally move from one engagement to another engagement, today in all companies there are teams called RMG, Resource Management Group, or Talent Management Group, right, or Core Technology Group, which normally gets these people back into their pool, which we call as a bench in the IT space. And then people go hang in there. Then there is a team that works on getting them placed with other projects. And then finally they move on to another project. And that is a period that which happens, right? In certain companies, that is 15 to 30 days. In certain places, that is 30 to 60 days. But essentially that happens. And we wanted to solve that problem for our employees first, because normally employees become a little bit jittery if they know that they are going to the bench. And at the same time, there is an opportunity that is waiting where the employee could be a potential match across the company. So we actually leverage technology today to do that. Again, the whole Gen AI, we have where we again take the employee, we take this job description, we try to match. But here it is just not only the resume of the employee, we also know their previous work that they have done with Altimetrik, their experience, their performance feedback, their goals that they are trying to achieve, and how have they been rated against their goals, and all of those things. So we take all of these things, we try to match, and then we say, you know what, this is a direct match. And sometimes we may not have been a direct match, but there could be an employee with a huge potential that we want the business to still consider and try to have them as part of their team to go ahead and use. So we do that. And then the fourth area is, as I said, to get in 100, 200 people, you end up doing 2,000, 3,000 interviews a month. And 2,000, 3,000 interviews means at least you need some 100, 150 panelists to be able to go ahead and do that, right? So which means that whenever an interview comes, you need to identify the right panel based on multiple factors, and then go and pick up that panel member to actually do the particular round, right? There are level 1, level 2, level 3 multiple rounds. And level 1 you might want somebody at an intermediate level to do, but then level 2 you might want somebody at a senior level to do, and level 3 you might want more of a leader level to do for cultural fitment and all of those things. So you need to pick up the right person. So we kind of again leverage Gen AI there, where three things are compared: the resume of the candidate, the job description, and then the profile of the interviewer, and their availability in terms of calendar details. And we pick up all these things, we mix, and then on a click, today our talent acquisition teams can pick up a panel and auto assign and say, you know what, this panel is actually going to go ahead and take the interview. So I can keep going on. As I said, the problem that we are solving is to see how we can create a platform for digital natives who are going to be 80 or 75 to 80% of a workforce in Altimetrik in 2027 and 2030 times. So we have been trying, we have been using a lot of things, and we are using Altimetrik as our first pilot customer, and we are currently working on socializing this platform to a lot of people outside in our circle to see if they want to use it. And we have got interest with a few who are actually talking to us to try and understand how we can take this particular thing to the outside world.
Great. Yeah, I think with your response, it's definitely clear that The impact of generative AI is, it goes beyond just creativity. It has a potential to disrupt industries by democratizing access to advanced technologies. And even small businesses can leverage Gen AI to compete with larger players by creating high quality products using machine learning and artificial intelligence without the need for extensive resources or expertise that way. So I'm not sure as to how steadily or we are moving towards a widespread adoption of Gen AI, but I think that's going to be too soon, I believe. So, having said that, just one last question for you, Ganesh. What are some trends and opportunities that you think would take place in the coming years in a digital business landscape?
See, one trend that for sure is going to come is that we want to hire anybody only with a co-pilot experience. Right? It's like manual cars to automatic cars today, right? Whenever you want to get a driver on drive you, you first ask the question if you own an automatic car, say, do you know how to drive an automatic car? So it's like that now. Right? So going forward, I think every company will want to recruit people who have an autopilot experience, and I will only urge a lot of listeners in this particular podcast to listen to this carefully and try and propagate this message across to make sure that people who are currently in corresponding stages of their career where they have a lot of more years left start adopting copilot. Whatever you do, whatever programming that you are, just start adopting copilot. That's going to be a big thing that I'm seeing. And second, I see that a lot of innovation is actually going to happen on the automation space. And when I say automation, this is not about getting people out of it, but this is more about scalability. There is always a myth that automation is about reducing jobs and automation will try to kind of cut jobs. It is false. If you have really been into doing automation for quite some time in your career life, I think you'll really understand that automation is all about scaling. Automation is all about providing better experience to your end customer, and automation is all about trying to deliver a error-free experience or error-free platform to your customers. That is what automation gets you. And when it comes to scale, we are not talking about reducing any headcount here. We are only talking about making people do what they do more better. And just for example, right? If you say, hey Ganesh, you say you want to hire another 12,000 people in the next 3 years, and say if your TA team size today is 150, are you saying that you will get to 500 or 600 Ganesh to meet this number of 18,000? The answer is no. I really want to see if I can get to 18,000 by just only adding another 100 more people to my TA team, not by adding another 400 more people to my TA team. So what happens? I still make sure that the people who have the job are there, and I still provide employment to a lot of more people. But at the same time, I just want to make sure that I have platforms to help me improve the productivity. So automation is the trend. I just gave a very uber word, but you can kind of drop it down into multiple different things, right? And going forward, it is going to be all about digital business methodology, my dear friends. It's not about learning a particular skill. It is not about transformation. It is all about how are you going to think by putting business first, and how are you going to kind of align and rally towards that in the technology space that you're working on, or in any tools and technology space that you're working.
Well, yes, I think it's important where organizations and people are embracing these technologies, and I think from increasing ROI to disrupting industries to forming the backbone of digital infrastructure, I think digital business methodology and practices are truly going to shape the future of work and business as well. But on the other hand, I also feel that it's just not about technology; it's about integrating this entire culture of DBM in the respective organization. So I think it's important that organization foster a culture of a continuous improvement, and employees are more encouraged to experiment, innovate, and even learn from their mistakes. So this cultural shift is very important for maximizing the potential of digital tools, and as well as helping organization get a scalable platform in terms of growing their business. Well, thank you so much, Ganesh. It was a pleasure having you with us on a podcast today. So I think we explored more about digital business methodology, which, to be honest, even I was unaware about. So thank you for highlighting the importance of DBM and how organizations can leverage those.
Thank you so much, Priya, for the opportunity. I think we have been doing DBM, and thanks to you for trying to spread the message. This is very, very important that these kind of good things, good message, and good practices are actually spread. So, thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you so much, Ganesh. This is for our listeners. Thank you for joining us on today's episode. I hope you found this discussion insightful and it provided you with a deeper understanding of how these innovations are driving business transformation. Stay tuned for upcoming podcasts, and you can view all our previous podcasts on Spotify and other leading platforms. Thank you so much.